Welcome to Bear Down Ballers. Again, I'm your host, AJ BRAMLETT, here with my super producer, Ryan Wall. And our Wildcats just keep rolling, man. Ahead of the Pac-12 season, they're playing some good basketball. Ryan, what were your thoughts on the last game against Morgan State?
Yeah, I mean, they like you said, they just keep on winning. And yeah, they had a 25-point victory over Morgan State. This was the final game of what Tommy Lloyd likes to refer to it as the preseason schedule before they get into conference play here. But I mean, AJ, it seems like the same thing keeps happening. It's a reoccurring great thing that occurs, and that's the big men continue to dominate. Azuolas Tubelis, Umar Ballo combined for 47 points, 15 rebounds. Umar was 8 for 8, perfect from the field. What'd you think of that?
I mean, those guys just every game we say the same thing. Every week we say the same thing, and that's great because the consistency that they've provided this year is something that we can count on always. And even if our 3-point shots aren't going down, or we're having some turnovers or whatever it is, to be able to throw that ball down to the block and get a bucket or a foul, at crucial times of the game, or when we're struggling from outside, is just a luxury that a lot of teams in the country just don't have. And those two guys play so well together, off of each other. They're unselfish. They make other reads, in the offense really well at a high level with their high IQs. And so they've just been really consistent and just fun to watch play together, man.
Yeah, a thing that's kind of surprised me with Jolis is that every game it seems like his level, like he seems like he's more comfortable on the
Yeah.
floor, playing in the system, and he's just running the floor better every game than I've ever seen him, run the floor. He had that dunk on the fast break.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, I think simply put, he's one of the best players in college basketball right now.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no question about that. The season he's had so far, I mean, he's up there with anybody in the country. And he's consistent. He's shooting a high percentage from the field. He's done it every single game. He does it in a spectacular but quiet way. I mean, because of his manner. But he's playing the best basketball that he's played at U of A. And going into the conference season, we're going to be relied upon heavily, to continue that. And I believe we'll just continue to see him get better and better as the season, moves on.
Another part of his game that he is adding is the 3-point shot.
Huge.
The last couple of games he's been shooting them a little bit more when he's wide open, and he was 2 for 2 against Morgan State. Besides the big men, AJ, as they dominated, who else kind of stood out for you in this game?
The guy that I really think is coming on, and it's kind of in small doses, but when you look deeply at the game, you can see it is Henry. I think Henry is getting better and better each game. He's a really high level, decision maker, I think, and he's starting to get more comfortable on the court. He's in the last 2 games, he had one where, he had a give and go on the fast break where, a 7-foot guy normally that would have been a charge, or, would have run over the defender, but he handled it well, made a good pass back for the layup. He's challenging everything on defense, rebounding pretty strongly. And so I really like, kind of the progress we've seen, with Henry coming along. And then Dylan last game too. I mean, he came in for a short amount of time. And that's what you want. You want a guy to be ready, like to, even though you're not playing a lot, you get in there and make, 3 or 4 positive plays in the time you're in there. That's also growth because, as we've talked about all season long, the bench is where we're going to need, improvement from. Kylan's been doing a good job getting more comfortable, out there as well. And Adama's, been a little bit inconsistent, but is getting, better at that as well. So those guys are going to be the key to us as we move through this Pac-12 and NCAA tournament time.
Yeah, it seems like, every game and every minute each guy on the bench plays, they continue to grow. We know they're all young, inexperienced players, so they need time, and that's gonna, let them get better in this system. But yeah, I think that if the bench continues to grow, the sky's the limit for this team. But AJ, before we talk about this Saturday's rivalry game against ASU, any final thoughts on the game against Morgan State?
I thought it was a good game because they started off a little slow, and Morgan State played well early, hit some threes. Also, they played a kind of trapping style of defense, which we haven't faced that much this year, where we had some turnovers. So I thought it was a good matchup for us just to face kind of a different style. Um, but overall, I just want to say about the overall, as Tommy calls it, the preseason. I mean, we couldn't really ask for anything else. I think the one loss to Utah was good for us. I'd rather have that than us be undefeated at this point, because I think it allowed us to kind of refocus, within the middle of those games, and get back to some basics that we needed to improve on. And we've seen that. So, overall, I think it's just been, a really solid season so far with some key signature wins on the national stage. And now it's time to go into the gauntlet and, go into the Pac-12 and playing against teams that know us a little bit better. And it's going to be a grind, but I think we're in a good position right now.
Yeah, well, AJ, let's move on and talk about a game that we all have been looking forward to for weeks now. It's Arizona versus Arizona State in Tempe this Saturday on New Year's Eve at 2 p.m. In Arizona. And it seemed like it was going to be a top 25 matchup between the two, but Arizona State lost by 37 to San Francisco while they were ranked for the first time this season, number 25. But what do you think about this matchup? And, this is a better Arizona State team besides that one loss than we might have thought a couple months ago.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona State's, they've had some really good victories. They destroyed Michigan. They played well in other games. That was a surprising result to me. That was a surprising result the other night that at San Francisco for them to lose by that much. But anything can happen on the road. When you're playing road games, I think the U of A ASU rivalry on Saturday, you could throw kind of the records out, and it's just going to be a battle every single time they get up for us. But I think we're ready, and I love nothing better than going into ASU and getting a road victory, in front of their fans. So I think our guys are going to be ready for it. It's going to be a hostile environment, which we need. And I think we're going to play a good, solid basketball game on Saturday and get the victory. What do you think?
Arizona, I didn't see a betting line come out for this game yet. Imagine Arizona would be 5+ point
Yeah.
favorite. I'd imagine Arizona State is a good team though. They have 4 players averaging in double digits. They got a couple good guards led by DJ Horn, Desmond Cambridge, and Frankie Collins. So yeah, I think they'll look to try to run with Arizona. I don't know how well they'll do that, but AJ, I wanted to ask you if you had any favorite memories or moments from playing Arizona State during your time in
Well, yeah, I
Tucson.
mean, first thing I'll say is that Jason Terry and I were the only class to never lose to Arizona State in our careers. So that's one of our biggest accomplishments, I think, for our time as being Cats. But yeah, man, I mean, we had so many battles with those guys. My senior year was my favorite game. I had like 24-11, I think, and hit the game-winning shot at ASU to give us that victory. And so that's definitely my number one memory of that, and just that atmosphere. But all those games are battles, man. And, every time you're going to leave everything out there, you go a little bit harder just because it is, ASU. And I just love those intense environments. And I like playing at ASU too. Like, it's just playing in that hostile environment, crowd yelling at you, calling you stuff all game long, and being able to compete at that high level is something that I'll never forget. I really enjoyed those games.
Yeah, I remember last year Arizona State got up to they started the game, I think maybe on like a 14-2 run or something against
Yep.
Arizona last year. And then as we know, Arizona came back and won that game. But yeah, the crowd's always crazy there. Should be a great game. It's on New Year's Eve. Would be great to start the year end the
Yeah.
year beating Arizona State
Yep.
and getting a Pac-12 win as the new year comes. But any other final thoughts, AJ, on this game against the Sun Devils?
No, I think we just got to be ready. I mean, even when you're coming off a little bit of layoff, for the holidays, you kind of worry about that a little bit just because the rhythm definitely gets disrupted. It doesn't matter. If you're not playing games, it just happens a little bit. So it could be a little bit of a slow start, to get if guys aren't, clicking as well to begin with. But I think we're ready for it. I think, we're ready for the challenge, ready for that crowd, and we're going to go out there and play U of A basketball.
Hey, let's not wait any longer and let's get to our guest today because we got a special one. Tell everybody who's coming up on the show.
Yes, sir. This is a great one. The man who's done a hell of a job getting, U of A back to the pinnacle of college basketball. Built an amazing culture, in the time that he's been here, and is doing a great job this year. Coach Tommy Lloyd joins us next on Bear Down Ballers. All right, I'd like to welcome into Bear Down Ballers the man who's done an incredible job getting Arizona back, to the top stages of college basketball where we belong. Built an extraordinary culture so far in its first year and a half at University of Arizona. The man, Mr. Tommy Lloyd, joins us now on Bear Down Ballers. How you doing, Coach?
AJ, I'm great. It's good to be on with you, and I'm definitely not the man.
I would beg to differ at this point, but we still got a long way to go for this season. But
No. Coach Roz told me he's always the man. He told me.
Well, I can't argue with you on that. Roz is the man until the end of time.
Yeah, that's what I was told, and so never the moniker the man can only be used for one person. And
that's fair.
Coach Roz.
Fair. I'll put that in the book for later on, man. I just want to jump right in with you, man. I mean, it's been off to a really good start for this season. I think, you wrapped up the non-conference schedule against Morgan State the other night. Just wanted to talk to you about how you think the beginning of the season's gone. We've had some really high-profile games, and just kind of get your thoughts on where the team is at right now and how you feel about things at the moment.
Well, asking a coach is probably, never going to get the answer the fans want to hear. But when you take a step back, I'm obviously happy, with where we're at, and but I still feel like there's so much room to grow. And I've kind of was really looking forward to getting through these, getting through the Tennessee game, getting through those last 2 games before Christmas, and then kind of just taking a breath and actually hitting a little bit of a reset. And I've kind of been stockpiling a list of things I think we need to do to get better, and start attacking that. By no means is my list, guarantee, amazing results, but it's the part of coaching that I love, is just, kind of helping a team continue to grow and develop. And I feel like we're far from a finished product. And I just feel like we could play so much better and really kind of, build our identity, kind of grow our identity a little bit in certain areas, and then double down on other areas and really solidify it. So we got back to practice last night. The guys had a good break. I had a good break, and my break was actually so good that I was sitting around on December 26th. And it was 75 degrees in Tucson. I'm feeling pretty good, and I emailed Ricky. Or text Ricky. I didn't email. I don't email much. I text him. I said, "Hey, Ricky, what time are you going to be at the office so we can meet?" And he's like, "Well, I'm actually in New York and I'm not back till tomorrow." And I thought, man, I'm one nice boss. I mean, my assistant coaches are kind of making up their own vacations and coming back when they wish. I thought we were supposed to practice December 26th. And then J-Guard told me, "Coach, we're not scheduled till the 27th. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I guess." I think my family was ready to get me out of the house at that point. 3 or 4 days with me was enough. And so no, I was really excited to get back on the court with the guys last night. And, when I'm done with you here, we're heading into a staff meeting real quick to go over a few things, and then heading out on the court to practice.
Yeah, great. I mean, looking forward to, seeing the improvement. I think the guys have, come a long way. I saw you during the summer, got to see the team a little bit during the summertime, and it's been, night and day from what the team looked like then to now. It's been really, really incredible to watch. One of the things that I really love that you do and have done, since your time there, is play a really tough schedule early, and play quality teams and want to be on the big stage, want the U of A to be in that primetime game as much as we can be. Is that like part of your strategy moving forward for the program? And do you enjoy those games? Like, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, we love them. I love playing, the great home and homes. I love, playing the big time neutral games. I love those preseason MTE tournaments. We call them MTE tournaments, means multiple team exemption. Someone told me, but basically though, that's the tournament you're playing around Thanksgiving. I think you learn so much about your team, and you actually need to go there, and you need to struggle a little bit, that's where you figure out how you got to get better, and you kind of get guys' attention a little bit, but I also appreciate those other games, those games we get to play at home. It was really cool. We're playing Morgan State, who, I got a lot of respect for those teams. People have no idea how hard it is for those programs. I don't think they played a home game yet.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that, you know, like not playing a home game. And like, so, you know, so I got a soft spot in my heart for those coaches. Cause I mean, they're doing real work. And, but what I thought was really cool is, you know, we played and it was December 22nd. And I thought, oh, you know, I mean, who knows? The students are gone. I mean, McHale was full, you know, and it was really cool to see. And just for me, those games are important too. You know, I mean, that's part of how you build your team, and you know, you learn about your team, and these teams present struggles. You play against different styles, you know, even though they may not have the, you know, maybe the level of talent we do overall, they're still good programs that are well coached and they present challenges. So when you put the whole preseason together, a few of those games, you know, playing in a big time preseason tournament, playing in a marquee neutral game, which gives you an NCAA tournament type feel, and then playing, you know, a great home and homes. I mean, it's a ton of fun. And, you know, we definitely want to play a real challenging schedule and kind of fill it in with some other games so we get some, you know, guys minutes to play at McHale. And I think that's a winning formula.
Yeah, it's been going, I mean, great so far. And I think, you know, all of the non-conference games you play, those teams, they play different styles, like you said. You know, watching like Morgan State with their trapping, you know, is a little different. And I think you guys have faced during this year. You guys handled that pretty well. So that's, I think you're doing the right thing there. One of the things that I like that you've done in two of the games this year, two of your biggest games, was bring back the 97 uniform.
Oh, nice. I see it right behind you there.
Hey, man, I love, yes, sir. I think, you know, my favorite uniform, obviously I'm biased, but what went into that? Like how did that come about? Like, where'd you
Well, you know, we got this equipment manager here. He's a celebrity. I mean, you know him well.
Emoy.
Every former player knows Emoy, you know, and whenever they come here, he takes care of them. And, you know, I mean, you know, honestly, it was done before I got here. So I can't really take any credit at all. I love the uniforms, you know, the 88s and the 97s. I think that's it's really cool that we're able to kind of, you know, capture different eras, you know, and you know, and kind of bring them back to the fold a little bit. And, you know, but, you know, I mean, I'm sure Sean was involved in that, you know, something back in the day before, you know, he left. And, you know, obviously Brigger was heavily involved in it, and, you know, Eric Lautenbach at Nike and guys like that. And, they're really cool. And listen, they brought back a classic uniform, and listen, I think it's first class. And, you know, I mean, I think it's hard to find a better looking uniform in college basketball than all the options we got.
I agree right there. So, let's talk a little bit about the team. I think, you know, obviously Umar and Zoo have been playing incredibly well this year. I know, as a big man who played in Arizona, I love to see these guys being kind of the anchors of the team, and especially the improvement that we've seen, you know, in Umar and Zoo really from last year. Can you just talk about kind of those guys and the job that they've done, you know, so far, and what you expect out of them moving forward?
Well, they've been great, you know, but before I get into those, because those guys are getting all the headlines, you know. I mean, I really feel that, you know, Henry and Dylan are on a good track. You know, I mean, it's unfortunately people aren't getting to see it very much, but even how Dylan finished that last game, I mean, he did things that he hadn't done. Right. You know, he had an unbelievable duck in, you know, which is great. He had an unbelievable time where he ran the floor. Like, I mean, I was right in front of me. I'm like, okay, there we go. He had an unbelievable vertical contest defensively, you know, and then, you know, he got open on the top of the key three that looked great. I mean, to do those four things in a small stretch, you know, really showed me, you know, that he's making progress. And I know his buy-in's been great, and he's been working incredibly hard behind the scenes. So I was really happy for him. And then Henry as well. You know, Henry's starting to play a little more balanced. You know, his you know, I call him sloppy Henry. You know, because he's just got his arms and legs everywhere. And, you know, and these kids coming from Europe, you know, they just learn the game a little differently. You know, their feet aren't like as firm into the ground. It's American players. So their feet are always kind of sliding around. They're a little bit sloppy, you know, a little more upright. So he's, you know, he's buying into the technique. So I'm really excited about those two. But, you know, you know, Umar and Zoo have been amazing. And the reason I mentioned Henry and Dylan is, you know, Umar was in their situation, you know, going a few years back, and kind of has worked his way through it and come out the other side. And so, you know, there's an example for those guys, a shining example. If you hang with it, you know, you continue to get better. And then Zoo has just gotten so much more consistent with his effort. You know, I mean, like he's really turned into a great college basketball player. And again, I think this Pac-12 season, I think we're going to see some growth in him as well. So yeah, for those two guys to just kind of kind of be our anchors, like you said, you know, at both ends of the floor. It's been great. And it's a big reason why we're off to the start we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys have, I mean, been playing incredible basketball, but everyone has. And actually, Dylan and Henry were on my list of next players I was going to ask you about. And I've seen Henry, like, his game open it up a little bit. I think he's a really good passer, high level. I'm starting to feel more comfortable, you know, making plays, which is great to see.
Yeah, and then, you know, then once he adds in just a little bit of the physicality and the balance around the basket, you know, I think he's really going to take off. And like, I think, you know, we still may be a few weeks out, but I think we're seeing a significant jump in him coming soon.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a really good player. So can you also talk about Pella and kind of his, you know, line this year and where you see him at now and what you expect from him?
Well, you know, Pella's a really good player.
Yeah.
And he's playing really well. You know, his you know, percentages and shooting numbers might not quite be where we're all accustomed to being, but that's going to flip. I mean, I was watching him in practice yesterday, you know, just watching him shooting a little bit in his reps and then watching him when we're playing live, and it's coming. It's right there. So, you know, he's just kind of, Pella's really talented. And, you know, I think, you know, people had, you know, huge expectations for him this year, that he was ready to make this big jump, and he has made a big jump. It just hasn't quite shown up number wise yet. And, you know, he's a little bit a victim of his own, the expectations, you know, everybody's putting on him, but like he's going to be great. And, you know, he and I have had some really good talks the last week, you know, about areas we need to tighten up and attack. And, you know, maybe there are areas that, you know, aren't fun to fix, or there are areas that are, you know, kind of go unnoticed, you know, but he's going to really make a big jump for us. And he plays so hard at both ends of the floor. And, you know, and you know, I just kind of think, like, you know, you look at him, he's got two guards playing with him that are shooting over 40% from three. Yeah. He's got two bigs that are scoring almost 20 points a game, you know, so you put him in the middle, that's a pretty good mix, you know. Yeah. And if he just kind of keeps everything, you know, burning and churning a little bit there, and he's definitely, he's kind of the cherry on top of everything. Yeah,
Pella's really versatile, great player. I love his effort and energy every single game. We'll continue to see that. Can you talk a little bit about, because you have, it's not only you, obviously, you have a great staff that you put together, and sometimes these guys don't get, you know, to be talked about a lot. Can you just talk about kind of the roles that your staff has provided for the, you know, help with the improvement of the team, you know, this year?
I mean, listen, I got great guys that I work with. First off, that's it. They're great guys. And that's really important. You know, when you're a staff, you know, and you're, you know, you're together a lot, you know, you're together almost as much as you are with your family.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's important that you're with good people and you have good connection and good cohesion. And I got high character, great guys. You know, as far as, you know, roles, you know, I'm not a person that just like puts people in a box and does hard definitions of things. We coach basketball. I mean, basketball is, I mean, everything kind of runs together. You know, I mean, we don't have different units. We don't have special teams, you know, I mean, you play basketball. So you want guys that can coach the whole game. And so, you know, we don't really have a offensive or defensive coordinator or anything like that, you know, but, you know, as far as, you know, like, you know, I mean, just in general, you know, like, you know, Jack Murphy, you know, he's a basketball lifer, you know, he's you know, Arizona guy through and through. You know, he's a former manager and he's still got that work ethic. You know, sometimes I got to tell him, Murph, you know, you got to delegate a little bit. You're doing too much here. But just, you know, his care factor is 100%. And, you know, without him, you know, there's no way that I would have been able to get off to this kind of start at Arizona. I mean, he's been with me literally every step of the way. And he's probably been, you know, running laps around me in a lot of things. So really appreciate him. And, you know, Ricky, you know, he's like my little brother, you know, I mean, he and I have been together for a long time now. And, you know, we argue and chip at each other like brothers do. But he really pushes me basketball wise, you know, and he's great on the court and he's great with the guys. He's great with individual development. And he's really amazing at helping you develop a really positive, you know, fighting spirit in your culture. And he does a great job of that. And then Coach Rob, he's the OG, you know, he's a legend and just a first-class individual. And I really, really value the time he and I get to spend together. Just a great man. And, you know, he really looks after me and, you know, he makes sure that I'm okay, you know, which I really value, you know, and I mean, this guy has won national championships, been to Final Fours, coached you name the great players, he's coached them, recruited him. And just for him to be here every day and as attentive as he is every day, and to have my back like he does every day is something, that I really cherish that. And then, you got Jay Gard. Jay Gard's a Arizona legend, low key, great dude. And just, he's so good because he just comes to me and, he doesn't give me too much, but he comes to me and gives me what I know. When he brings me something, he's thought about it. And, and hey, maybe it's something that I need to go mention to a guy, or, hey, I need to give this guy praise, or, hey, this guy, needs a little talking to about this, he's just a great extra set of eyes. And just, it's been fun having him down here with his family down here and everything, seeing all his kids and everything's been really cool. And then, you got my guys in the back, you got TJ, Rim, Ken, those guys are warriors, and they know how I think. And, they let me vent when I need to vent, and they sit there and are, and know if they should say something or shouldn't say something. And so I really value them. And then beyond that, we just have amazing people that, were in the program before I got here. The guy that's my eyes and ears with the media, Nate Weekers, sitting here right next to me, he's literally giving me cue cards and telling me what to say,
he's a smart man.
And I think the hashtag run with us, I think he's trademarking, and that was his baby. So it wasn't your baby? Oh, okay. He's not. He told me that he said, scratch that from the edit, huh? Oh, okay. We won't tell you where he stole it from.
All right.
That might be some trademark issues. Then, you got Brian Brigger, obviously we talked about him. And then, you got J-Rock and Rounds. Those guys have just been here, and they've been through the battles here, and they just do such a good job. They know the culture, their institutional knowledge, and they love being part of a team. So it's a ton of fun having them. And then, probably the real MVP is Marisa. She's our secretary for the athletic department. For the basketball, and she does an amazing job. She's literally like a full-time staff, another coach on the staff member. She hasn't given me ideas for any out of bounds plays yet, but
these things run smoothly.
But for having my life organized, she does an amazing job. So, just great people. And that's one of the things I really value here at Arizona is just, we have great people, and you know what? I love having fun. So it's fun to work with people you love, and it's fun to be around other good people that have sense of humors and stuff like that. Yeah. So it makes every day great.
Well, it feels like a family. The program really does right now. So great job on that. Okay, a couple more questions. I'll let you get out of here. I know you got a busy day, but this question is from my sons, Dalen and Drew. You met them previously. Asked them if they had any questions for you, and this is what they
these
asked.
Are the heavy-hitting ones here.
These are the heavy-hitting ones. So they said, what do you look for in a recruit for the Arizona program when you're out recruiting? What traits?
Wow, that's a great question. That there definitely is not like there's not an instruction manual for that.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect science. For the first off, I look for high character.
Yeah.
I do. Hardworking, because those are the type of people you want in your program. And ultimately, those people have the best chance of maximizing their potential. So you look for that. And then obviously talent, and some of the things I value in talent, I value high IQ. Yeah. Of course, you like athleticism, and you need to be at a certain level of athleticism to compete at the highest level. But I like to package that, with intelligence and decision making and a little bit of skill. And what I really like, I love dudes that just play really hard.
Yeah.
And guys that just play hard and play for the team and, are fun to be around every day. We had, just the last couple of days, we're starting our Arizona State prep.
Yeah.
And so I, just watched our game last year, and just, it's fun watching. Like you watch a guy like Dalen, and the way he played, but just the interactions you had with him on a day-to-day basis were so awesome. And just such a good dude. You wish you could recreate and have a Dalen on your team every year. And then, Ben, you had a guy that, was really talented, but it was really just trying to figure out how to be a really good basketball player, and just to see him, buy into the little techniques and the little things that we were talking about last year, just that ability to learn, is something that I think is really important. And that's one of the things. Another thing I really look for is, quick learning. Our guys, they have abilities to be quick learners, because if you're a quick learner, then we're going to be able to teach you so much more, and rather than, there's nothing more frustrating than that guy that you keep trying to teach him the same thing over and over and over again. Eventually, he'll get it, and it's your job to stick with him. But, it's a luxury to have a quick learner.
For sure. And then, and I'll throw one guy in there, talk a little bit about CeeLo and the job he's doing this year too. You mentioned Ben and DT, but I mean, all three of those guys are having a heck of seasons for their first.
Well, no, CeeLo is a really good basketball player. And, I was telling people that last year.
Yeah.
He's a really good basketball player. And, he may not do everything, some guys would want him to do, and they think, he can't, maybe not a great 3-point shooter, or, whatever. He doesn't drive to the basket or whatever. Okay. You take away a few of those things, and then you focus on the things he can do. He helps you win basketball games.
Yeah.
And I really value that. And, I mean, and the thing that, like Ricky and I have been talking about with CeeLo lately, he's such a good teammate, like he was Umar's biggest fan last year.
Yeah. Yep.
The guy he was competing with for minutes, he was his biggest fan.
Right.
And, and so, and Umar, he's having success now. So that's something we talked to him about, is like, hey, you got to go be these young bigs' biggest fan.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kicking their ass every day. They need to know you love them and you care for them. So that's really important.
Good, man. Yeah, all three of those guys are doing wonderfully. It's fun to watch them every night when we can. So, all right, 2 more to go, and then I'm gonna let you get out of here. A little bit different. Okay, so I ask this to the guys when I have them on. Usually, when they're going to the game and they're listening to some pregame hype music, what's in your playlist? What's on your playlist? What do you have a go-to, or like what do you listen to before games to get you?
Oh wow! So we're getting into it here. Let me see. I do have a little playlist. Let's see here. If I get it up here, I might need to get my glasses on to read it.
I need my readers too. It's
oh yeah, isn't it amazing how fast that happens? Okay, my playlist is called LFG Good Vibes.
Okay,
and it's probably a bunch of old music that people are gonna make fun of me for. I Got a Feeling, Black Eyed Peas.
Okay.
Love Tonight by David something. I don't know, some like a European disco song.
Okay.
Hello by Martin Solveig or whatever, kind of a feel-good song. Hymn for the Weekend by Coldplay.
Okay.
Volare by the Gypsy Wanderers.
Yep.
Bad Boy for Life. I think that's by Puffy, right?
Puffy, yep.
And Beautiful Day by U2. That's it.
Okay. Solid.
That gets me started,
I love it.
Now listen. Hey, but so, I mean, if it's like normal days, definitely the Beastie Boys.
Okay. All right.
I mean, but this is like, my kind of my good, you gotta have to have a good feeling. I got a feeling, it's going to be a good night, right? Like on a game, you got to play that.
I like it.
And then, hey, and I even do mix in a little country now, with my neighbor being Mark Weistrack from Midland,
Oh yeah. Mark's my guy. I saw him in concert out here in Albuquerque a few months ago.
Yeah. So he's a great Wildcat,
Yeah,
and he keeps telling me about this 40-inch vertical he has. I'm not buying it.
40? I don't know about 40. I don't know.
Could he dunk back in the day or not?
I don't remember him dunking, but I mean, he could though. He was out on the farm working hard and doing, all that tough work. So he's athletic. He's athletic for sure. I'll give him that.
Well, I mean, I play pickleball with him some, and I tell him, it looks like he's moving around in cowboy boots out there.
That's about right. So, all right. And then last one for you, your favorite restaurant to eat at in Tucson.
Oh my gosh. You're going to get me in trouble here.
Where'd you go to? Or a couple. It doesn't have to be one. It doesn't have to be
well,
one.
first off, I'm going to say any restaurant owned by Sam Fox.
There you go.
Yeah, they like that. But as a caveat there, I really love going to Contigo. Contigo's it's in the Westin right by my house.
Yep.
It's a Latin grill. They do a great job there. I mean, did you guys go there when we came to the Loop deal?
No, we didn't go there that time, but yeah, I've been there before though.
It's really good. They do a great job there and great service, and and Jorge takes great care of us. So we love going there, and we probably go there a little too often, once or twice a week. But the chuletas, the lamb chops are unbelievable.
Magnifique.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, well, hey, Coach, I appreciate your time, really, taking the time to hop on us with Bear Down Ballers. Continued success. Love watching this team, and you guys are making us alumni proud. So keep doing what you're doing, and thanks for your time today.
Appreciate it, AJ. Have a good one.
All right, talk to you later. Thank you.